Hello and welcome to Lead, Thrive, Revive, Life Beyond Burnout. My name is Leigh Felton, and I am joined, as always, by the amazing Dr. Diane. This is where we talk about all things related to intentionality of understanding yourself, your body, understanding just how to I always say give yourself a hug, but it's beyond that, right? It's about how do you understand how to take care of yourself and the signs that you need taken care of. And so we've been talking a lot about things like your body compass. What is your emotions telling us? Your body budget. How much do you have before it's just like, okay, I need to reset. I was talking to Dr. Diane right before the show, and I just told her there's a lot going on, and right now I just feel like what's the point? Every time you feel like okay, I've made it through that, it's time to move on, it's time to go. Wham! Something else just comes and hits you and knocks you back down. So Dr. Diane, my opening question today is what the F? Why I sometimes it's just like I have no control of anything and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. What's the point? What's the point of caring, of feeling when it seems like there's just going to be one disappointment after another?
Mm. That is so real and relatable. And I appreciate you, Leigh, for always bringing the genuine questions because, of course, I don't think you're alone at all. I think so many of us, myself included, with everything that's going on in the world, can feel beat down, right? Can feel just discouraged, can have that feeling of like, well, what's the point anyway here? I feel like, as you said, I feel like I'm just getting through this, whatever challenging point, and then, here comes the next wave, and here comes the next wave, and here comes the next wave. So, thank you for all, embodying what we're trying to talk about here, which is being authentic.
Thank you for getting the stab in the heart.
Oh, like I said, like if that old thing of if you're not feeling that, you're not paying attention. There's so much there is so much to give that feeling of heaviness these days. So first of all, saying thank you for asking the question, and secondly, for being authentic and not pretending that this is not happening, right? These various challenges are not happening. So, one of the perhaps in the context of our topic and discussion that we might feel discouraged about is there really such a thing as life beyond burnout, right? Is there really such a thing? And so I want to unpack that question and offer a reframe of that question.
Okay.
So the way that it's currently framed is that life beyond burnout presumes that there's kind of a linear process that you go through, that you get through the burnout in a one and done kind of way. And then you get onto the other side of the burnout, and then the conditions that led you to burnout in the first place don't occur again.
Mm-hmm. So that's and Dr. Diane, didn't you, when we started this, didn't you promise me that magic ticket that we're going to teach you and it's going to just release you of those, of those tensions, of that stress and that strain of not being able to just be who you are?
Yes. So there's one part of that that's true, which is that we can learn skills. We can expand our ability to respond with intentionality to the challenges that life brings us. Okay. The thing that we cannot do is stop or control those waves of challenge and adversity that come up in life. We just simply cannot. We are not in control over the infinite number of causes and conditions in the world. We couldn't possibly control all of it. So if we take as a given that, those challenges will, just by virtue of being in this world and in a world where there's so many things happening that we can't control, If we take as a given that we can't stop that, and that the leverage point is not controlling that, the leverage point is expanding our skills and ability to respond to those with greater intentionality. That's really where the leverage point is. So if the perceived promise at the beginning of this was that, no more challenges, then definitely you should get your money back. But I don't feel like I promised that. What I promised was, let's find out what skills we can put in our pockets so that when the inevitability of that comes, we grow and we are better at responding to that every time it comes.
Right.
So it's almost like you flip it, and it's almost like, bring it on, because I have confidence that I am going to respond to this better every single time. And that's a big, mind flip, right? From, dang it, I wish, these challenges would just stop. I wish the world would stop being such a challenging place to be.
Yes.
That's a
I
real.
wish there was no hatred. I wish there was no injustice. I
Yes.
wish.
Uh-huh.
But no matter how much I wish, I'm going to have moments like I did earlier this week, where it's just like the weight of the world seemed to have come crashing down on me. And even though I believe in authenticity, I believe in breathing and practicing skills, I keep going back to that exercise that you and I did, sitting up straight and
good reminder.
Right. And just allowing myself to breathe and just relax. But when your heart hurts, you're not thinking clearly about all of the things that you need to do to take care of yourself, because you feel completely helpless with helping anybody else.
Sure. Okay. So this is really important, what you're saying. Okay. So you said, I wish there was no hatred. I wish there was no injustice. Okay.
Yes.
So the thing that I want to explore together with you is, what is the connection between how we relate to hatred and injustice and adversity in ourselves in the moment when that feeling of overwhelm arises? What's the connection between that and the hatred and injustice and overwhelm that exists in the world? Okay, so it's not a question that you need to answer right in this moment.
Okay. I'm trying to absorb it to make sure that I understand it.
Yes. So just inviting an exploration of what the connection between the two is. Okay. So let me you can let that sink in, and I can, kind of offer some other, ways to frame it.
Okay.
So, one possible entry point into this is that all of the hatred and injustice that we see in the world, right, is merely a collective reflection of kind of the state of the human heart more generally, right? So we're only what the hatred and injustice in our social structures, right? Where does that come from? Right? That comes from hatred and injustice in individual human beings that hasn't been transformed, and so we're just perpetuating and projecting that hatred and injustice out into our social systems, right? And so if that's the case, if those two things are connected, then again, one of the leverage points we have for the best, I would say, leverage point for transforming that in the world would be to transform that right in ourselves, in that moment of that feeling of overwhelm and discouragement. Right. So let me just stop there, because I know I'm saying a lot, and let me see what you think about that so far. You can tell me I'm full of it.
I can, and I will.
Welcome it.
I think it sounds nice.
Yes.
I think it sounds nice. And I think, oh gosh, that would be lovely. But give me something tangible. Like, right? Give me
Yes.
something. It's like when I get that feeling
Mhm.
and I'm overwhelmed. And so, regardless of whether I'm overwhelmed because of something's going on in society, I'm overwhelmed because something happened to me in the workplace, or
Mhm.
I'm overwhelmed because I witnessed something happening to somebody else
Sure.
in the workplace. And it just like it gets you down, or it hurts, or it's
Mhm.
weight. Give
Mhm.
me something tangible. It's
Okay.
like, yeah, I can
So
build that muscle,
yeah,
right? You're saying I can build a muscle, but
but
what
how? So
muscle am I building?
let's move step by step towards that, right?
Okay.
So one thing that you said that I thought was so important was, um, what do you do when you feel that ache in your heart
Mm.
from the overwhelm and you can't think clearly about what to do?
Yes.
Right? So that is a really cool connection there because yes, of course, it's true. When the ache is so overwhelming, we cannot think clearly. If we cannot think clearly, then we won't know what's the most skillful thing that I can do in the situation to make it better.
Right.
Whether it's witnessing your, somebody, a colleague in the workplace, or whether you're witnessing, some injustice happening in the world, right? Uh, when if we don't attend to that ache, and do what we need to do to care for that ache and transform that ache, then we will remain in a situation where we can't see clearly and do the most skillful, beneficial thing. What we might do if we
Mhm.
don't attend to that ache is react, right? React in a way because if I act right now, even though I'm not thinking clearly, I have this idea that it might alleviate the ache, right? But the first move is not actually acting without ignoring the ache. The first move is really noticing the ache and caring for the ache and
Mhm.
doing some of the things that we've already learned so far, right? Like, you know, breathing or
Yes.
being
Screaming, I think you said.
breathing, screaming, like
Yeah.
taking, whatever are the things that we've talked about so far and all the conversations that we've had. Um, you can't skip over the ache. Why? Because if
Embrace
you
the ache.
skip over the ache, you will remain cloudy. You will remain not thinking clearly. And whatever you do out of reactivity, even if it's with a good intention, will not be as effective as we want it to be. So all we're doing is perpetuating, the confusion, right? We're not finding our way out of the confusion. We're just reacting out of the confusion. So do you see what I mean about
I do.
not
I do.
circumventing the ache?
Yes. I clearly see that, and I think about because sometimes it's not just like my situation this week was devastating, news in society,
Sure.
and so it came all of a sudden, just like, and then that ache opened up so many other traumas that I've
Mm,
experienced or that I've read about or that I've
yes.
seen, over the years. But there are times, and I think there are many people that have like panic attacks and things like that,
Mhm.
where it's a buildup. It's not like an ache for one thing,
Oh, sure.
right? It's just this buildup where you just get to the point of you're feeling suffocated, you're
Mhm,
suffocating, or you can't breathe.
mhm,
And so what you're saying is allow yourself that moment of pain, of sadness, of weight, of emotion, of just, whatever it may be for you, however
mhm,
you take on that significant feeling. So
mhm.
allow yourself to acknowledge
Yes.
the fact that you of what you're feeling.
Mhm,
And mentally, how can people acknowledge that? Like for me, I just if I'm like I was sad about something, so I wanted to just sit in that sadness for a moment. I just really wanted to just think about that situation and just sit in that moment, and just and allow myself to be sad. Are
mhm.
there other things that people can do for the different emotions that they're experiencing?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of the same themes that I've been talking about, right? Which is that, really tracking whatever emotion it is, whether it's sadness or anger, because anger is also a common reaction to these injustices in the world, right? Sadness or anger, or kind of bewilderment, like confusion about what I
Yes.
should do or something like that, right? Like kind of feeling bewildered. And so one of the main things is really tracking the way that that emotion shows up energetically in your body. So noticing, okay, here is where it is. The sadness is residing in my abdomen, in my belly area. It feels like a catch in my throat. It feels like like I have like a a weight like
Weight on my
smashing
face,
my head, or
okay,
whatever it
shoulders.
is. And
Yeah.
really tracking that, because what we'll find when we start to track that is that sometimes it's a solid feeling, but sometimes it's moving, right? And so staying with it and tracking the
Like
way.
it's moving through your body, or it's moving in what way?
Yeah, either moving through your body, or even like, say, if it's a catch in the throat, we might feel like it's solid, but actually it might be tingling. So it's not
Okay.
exactly like solid, right? And
Right.
so why is that an important thing? It's important because, do you remember, I think, I don't remember what episode or what session it was, but we talked about the stress cycle,
Yes.
right? And so the
Yes.
stress cycle is, okay, you have a stimulus, you have a some kind of event or stressful thing happen to you, right? Your body has a natural intelligence of knowing how to respond to that stress and how to get back to balance. And so we were talking about, allowing that stress cycle to complete. And part of allowing that stress cycle to complete is not suppressing the emotional reaction to that stress, right? And that suppressing the emotional reaction to that stress is one of the roots of burnout that we've been talking about every single session, right?
Yes, suppressing,
So,
right, suppressing how you're feeling, what you're
yes,
going through.
yes.
Okay.
And so what, okay, so then you're noticing and you're tracking, oh, I feel so much sadness, or I feel really angry at this
Right.
news story or whatever, right? And then the completion of the stress cycle is giving the energy of that emotion that you're watching in your body some place to go that is constructive. Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, sometimes we give that energy some place to go that is not constructive, right? And so
Well,
and
yes.
so we want, when we're not in the heat of the moment, to have like kind of a number of different tools that we have in our back pocket, right? So we talked last time, I think, about, some people exercise, some
Right,
people
exercise,
clean,
garden.
some people garden, some people write, you know, uh, long, fiery emails, or write out letters and then don't send them, right? Like
Right.
whatever. But you need to give that energy a place to go. You can't keep that energy stuck in your body and not let your body go through the natural stress cycle, right? So what happens is, when you let the body go through the natural stress cycle and your body comes back into balance again, guess what happens? Your mind becomes clear again.
Okay.
And then from that space, you can uh, think more clearly about, okay, what is the best thing that I can do right now? Like, to address this social injustice or this
Or
difficult thing that I've witnessed a colleague go through. If you try to do that in the middle of the stress cycle, when the stress cycle hasn't gone through, you're very unlikely to do the most beneficial thing, because you're clouded. You can't see your full logic and rationality is not in play, right?
right.
It's your amygdala that's in play, not your prefrontal cortex, right? Not the seat of your
Yes.
most keen intellect. So in order for you to access your most keen intellect, you have
Okay.
to let the stress cycle go through.
And you have to allow for it.
Hmm.
You have to feel it, allow it, because it's
Yes.
real. It's
Yeah.
real. It's part of what you're feeling, how you're thinking, or, you know, but don't react to it. Allow yourself to feel it,
Hmm.
and then find how you can release it, how you can have that pressure, that weight, that
Yes.
anger, that force.
Hmm.
Find a place that you can release it. I know, as silly as it sounds, my release, and I think I've mentioned it before, is either music,
Yes.
and it
Good one.
is about pulling myself back to just reality and relaxation, or it's anime. It is clearing my head of all of those emotions and just allowing myself to drift into this made up world, this
Mhm.
creative world. And so that's what helps me. But
So let's look at these two things. I
okay.
really appreciate them because, um, you know, one of the things we've been talking about also is that emotions in their raw form, right, and is merely energy arising in your body. We lay a story on top of that energy arising in your body, right? So the act of tracking where that energy is creating space for you to be able to see, like, oh, this is the part of the emotion that's the energy part, and this is the part that's the story part. And I get to choose what the story part is. The energy part moving through my body is kind of just my body's natural reaction. I can't control that,
Right.
right? I can't control the flush of temperature that comes up in my cheeks when I'm angry. I can't stop that. But I can choose the story that I lay on top of that. But you can't choose the story if you don't give yourself space. So the act of tracking the energy in your body is what buys you a little bit of time and
Mhm.
space to let the stress cycle go through, so that your mind can be clearer. Now, what happens is the other cool thing is that when you said, okay, I could, one thing I do is music, right? Or anime, right? And the cool thing that I want to point out here is that raw energy of emotion in your body, it is said, and you can find out for yourself,
Okay.
it's actually a creative energy.
It's a
So
creative energy.
yes, when you are not just leaving the reactive toxic story on top of it. So why I find it interesting is because your mind, or your natural way of giving that energy a place to go, you said, was music and anime, which are both creative outlets,
And
right?
poetry. I didn't think about,
And
I didn't think
poetry.
about, yes, since I was young, I used to,
Yes.
if I had whatever that energy is, I would write poetry. And that also, I guess,
Well,
is a
check
really
it out, right? Like when you don't suppress that energy, and when you focus on the energy and not the story, at least in the short term, so that you can let the stress cycle go through, what's left when you allow that is creative energy. And then we get to choose what to do with that creative energy. We can listen to music, we can dance, we can write a poem, we can lose ourselves a little bit in a enjoyable anime or something like that. Your body and your mind wants it to flow in a creative way. I didn't make you say that. You just said that those were the things,
no,
right?
seriously,
So there
seriously.
it is.
Oh
So
wow,
that's
I
a
mean, that
source
is
of
very cool.
amazing creative energy that we never tap into because, one, we don't allow ourselves to feel. And then we are reactive. We don't give our space to just let the energy do its thing and dance through our body. And then we don't know where to put that energy in a creative way.
Oh wow. Okay. I actually, and I don't consider myself a creative, but I totally understand what you're saying. And
Yay.
to help people get there,
Hmm.
I have found that different breathing techniques, so when you're feeling that energy, to
Hmm.
allow yourself to accept it and to
Hmm.
go through it. I have found that different breathing techniques help with that. Are there any breathing techniques or exercises that you can walk us through that
Yeah.
when you're starting to feel that overwhelming or that weight or that anger or that tension, that panic, that stress? Is there a breathing
Yes.
exercise that you particularly care for that can
Yes.
help people just take that moment to be in that moment?
Yeah, there are billions of, I don't want to say billions, but a lot of them, because in every wisdom tradition in any part of the world, this is a natural thing that humans know how to do. It's just somehow along the way we lost it, right? We got separated from our bodies in a sense, right?
Okay.
Because so part of this is just kind of coming home to your body. That's why the breath is so useful, because your breath is always with you. You can't leave it home, or
No.
leave your breath at the restaurant that you ate at lunch. It's not like your cell phone or something. Your breath is there, always with you, and your breath is can't be in the past, and it can't be in the future. Your breath is always present, right? And your breath allows you to come home to your body. So there's a million different kinds of ones, but let's just do one right now. Okay.
Okay.
So while you're sitting here with me, I want you to pick one part of your body as that you will use as an anchor. That is going to be your go-to, like say like when you're on a video call like this, right? Like, is there a
Okay.
part of your body that's easy for you to, connect to the sensations of what's happening there?
That's
Is it?
actually it's my heart, but is that an okay, or does it
Yeah,
have to be
sure.
something that I
Whatever works for you, right? So
okay,
the question for those watching is pick some place in your body that's easy for you right now to connect to the sensations of. So for you, Leigh,
definitely
that's
here.
your chest right now, right?
Yes, it's definitely here. Yes.
Okay, so your chest. So the chest is also really nice because it's a natural place where we can feel our breath.
Some people I think it's fingers for a lot of
Your
people.
fingers, right?
Yes.
So if it's your fingers or your chest, whichever it is, see right now if you can open up your awareness to that part of your body. So
Okay.
with you, it's your chest, right? So
Right. It
see if you
is.
can open up your awareness to your chest and just
Okay.
with curiosity ask like, what's going on in my chest right now?
My chest
What
is
kind?
feeling it through my throat. I'm feeling it down my arms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling like this energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stifled energy actually, to
Okay.
be
Like
honest.
tight,
Yeah,
right?
it's a tight energy,
So,
but
so
I'm feeling that.
the cool thing is that here is that you don't need to change it. You don't need to fix it or do anything. It's just having this attitude of curiosity about, okay,
Okay.
what's happening in my chest right now? And then seeing if you can, come up with the descriptors like you just did.
Okay.
Right? So things like sensation, tightness, looseness, temperature, tingling,
Mm,
whatever, right? So you said, right now I'm feeling some tightness, and you can
mhm,
ask yourself, okay, where exactly in
mhm.
my chest is the tightness? Is it in a certain part of my chest or not? Is it concentrated in certain areas?
It's flowing up, it's flowing across my chest, and it's flowing up through my throat.
Okay, so even your description means that the energy of it is dynamic, right? It's not fixed, right?
Okay.
There's a
Okay.
movement in it, right?
Okay.
So again, you don't have to change it or fix it. You're just noticing it, just like that. You're tracking what's happening in your chest. And so
Okay.
the next thing I want you to do now is I want you to connect your breath,
Mhm.
right, to the sensations in that part of your body, in your case, the chest. Now the inhale and the exhale of it, you don't have to make it any particular way. Just let the breath naturally unfold in its own pace, but see if you can connect the breath to the sensations of your chest.
I
Okay,
can.
so we'll
I
do
can.
we'll do 3 breaths like that, and then just noticing it, connecting the sensations of the breath to the sensations of the chest without having to make the pace any particular way,
I definitely feel it.
right? And so
I do.
what impact does that have, just to do that very briefly like that?
It did something here.
Mhm.
Like, there was a tingle.
Mm.
Um, I'm not being descriptive. I know. I'm
No, it
trying.
is. That's
It's
descriptive. Yeah, you feeling the dynamic energy moving, you felt it, first.
I felt the first thing was a tingle here
Right.
across my head.
Okay. So again, there's no right or wrong. What we're doing here, tying it together to what we said earlier, like
Yes.
we're finding an anchor in the body.
Okay.
We're being curious about it. We're tracking it. We're describing it, and then we're connecting the breath sensations to that particular physical anchor. Okay. So how does that connect to what we said earlier? Is
Yes.
that when you're doing that, right? You're creating space between you and the energy of your emotions,
Mm.
right? You're allowing the energy of your emotions just to be energy. You're not lost in the story about the injustice of the world. You're just noticing that the injustice of the world is creating this energy in your body, right? And so what that's allowing it to do without you even knowing it is allowing your body to go through the natural stress cycle and do what your body already knows how to do, which is to come back to a sense of balance, right?
Yes.
And so the movement of your energy, there's no right or wrong. It's not going to happen exactly the same way every time. But what you're doing, as I said, is you're creating that space so that you start to notice that there's a part of the emotion that's pure energy and a part of the emotion that's story, and that you don't have to be lost in the story. Exactly. And then what happens now, if you do that, even just a few breaths, right? Your body and your mind are starting to calm and clear.
Yes.
So that if you're more able now to decide what actually can I do or should do about this injustice in the world, right? But while you were doing that, you weren't trying to plot your plan about combating injustice, right?
Not at all. Right,
Yeah.
right. I was literally focused on what is the energy that I'm feeling.
Correct. And
where is it flowing, and how am I feeling now that I've taken these? I mean, I was focused on me.
Yes. And then the energy now is not locked up in the angry or hurt or sad story. It's there. It's more liquid, like it's like an asset that you've made liquid. Now it's an asset that you can use and direct and deploy and in whatever way you want. And the cool thing is that the nature of the asset that you've just made liquid is creative. Wow, how cool.
I'm going to go watch some anime. We are out of time, and so this is perfect.
Okay.
We actually are out of time,
yes.
as usual, because the exercises we go through, I am super, super appreciative of. I know how to breathe. I know how to do breathing exercises, and I know how to relax myself. But when you're in those emotional, whatever that emotion is, in those moments, even the most practiced person can forget. And I think what I'm hearing, it's about that reminder, just that reminder until it becomes natural, that when you're feeling that and it's breaking you, and it's breaking you, or you feel like it's breaking.
You do it, practice it so it becomes a muscle memory, so that it becomes natural. So then when you get into a really high pressure situation, you do it automatically. You can't do it automatically in a high pressure situation if you don't practice it with smaller things first.
I appreciate you, and
I appreciate you.
I thought there were certain things that were already muscle memory to me, but this week has definitely proven that that there's no such thing as too much practice. So, no. Dr. Diane, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Much love to you, and tenderness for that ache that you and we all feel.
Yes.
To shut down to that ache is the opposite of what we need to do to build the world that we want to be in.
Thank you.
So congratulations on being human.
On being human. Yeah. I think, I appreciate it. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that this has, in some shape or form, whether large or small, that this has helped you, it has impacted you, and that you will remember to breathe in all of these times of trouble and stress and sadness and love. So, Dr. Diane, I will see you in just a couple of weeks. We are here every other week. Leigh, what am I talking about? Live, Thrive, Revive, Life Beyond Burnout. See you next time. Bye.
See you. Bye, everybody.